and welcome to Story Time with Mr. Laws. Today we're reading Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger by Lewis Sacker. Chapter 27, Way High Up Ball. Eric Fry, Eric Bacon and Eric Ovens were playing Way High Up Ball. They had made up the game themselves. All you needed were two things, a pink rubber ball about the size of a tennis ball and a really tall school. Eric Ovens threw the ball way high up. It bounced off the school just above the third-story window. "Three-pointer!" called Eric Bacon. They shoved and elbowed each other out of the way as they waited for it to come down. At the last second, Eric Fry jumped and caught it. He got 3 points. Eric Ovens also got 3 points since he was the thrower. Eric Fry threw the ball way high up. It bounced off a window on the 5th floor. "Five-pointer!" called Eric Ovens. All three Erics jumped for it. It bounced off their fingertips and hit the ground. The teacher on the 5th story stuck her head out the window. "Hey, what's going on down there?" she shouted. The three Erics looked away and whistled. "There's one more thing about Way High Up Ball I haven't told you. You're not allowed to play it." The Erics had already broken one window. Eric Bacon looked up, surprised. "Are you talking to us?" he asked. "Something just banged against my window," said the teacher. "Was it a bird?" asked Eric Ovens. The teacher stared at the children a moment longer, then she pulled her head inside. Eric Fry threw the ball way high up. It was a 6-pointer. All three fought for position as they waited for it to come down, but at the last second, a hairy arm reached above them and caught it. The arm belonged to Lewis, the yard teacher. "Can I play?" asked Lewis. His moustache had grown back completely. "Sure," all three Erics said together. "What do I have to do?" asked Lewis. "Just see how high up against the school you can throw it," said Eric Fry. Lewis gripped the ball tightly in his hand. He reached way back, then let it fly. "Wow!" the three Erics said together as they watched the ball soar up in the air. It hit above the 8th-story window. Then Lewis caught his own rebound. 16 points, said Eric Bacon. "Throw it again, Lewis," said Eric Ovens. Now that Lewis was playing, lots of kids from all over the playground came to play too. Lewis threw the ball way high up. It hit above the 11th story, then bounced back over everyone's head. There was a mad scramble for the ball. Bibi finally came up with it. "Give it to Lewis," said Eric Ovens. "No, let Bibi throw it," said Lewis, who always tried to be fair. Bibi threw a 2-pointer. Jason caught the rebound. "Do you want to throw it, Lewis?" he asked. No, you go ahead," said Lewis. Jason threw a glopper. A glopper is when the ball goes straight up in the air and comes down without touching the building. Eric Bacon caught it. "Here, Lewis," he said. "No, you throw it," said Lewis. "But you can throw it so much higher," said Eric Bacon. "We want to see how high you can throw it, Lewis," said Leslie. "Come on, Lewis," everyone urged. Lewis shook his head. This game's for you kids, not for me." "Miss Nogard is watching," said Bibi slyly. Lewis glanced at Miss Nogard, who was standing just outside the front door. "Give me the ball," he said. The kids cheered. Lewis reached way down, almost to the ground, then hurled it up with all his might. The ball reached the 15th floor, halfway up the school. "Wow!" everyone said together. "I got it!" called Terence as he circled under the ball, waiting for it to come down. His knees wobbled. The ball bounced off his face. "Cool," he said as blood flowed out of his nose. "That was a world record, Lewis," exclaimed Eric Ovens. Lewis smiled proudly. He turned to look at Miss Nogard, but she had already got inside. "You like Miss Nogard, don't you?" asked Bibi. She seems like a nice person," said Lewis. "She's pretty too," said Eric Bacon as he nudged Lewis in the side. "Well, she is kind of cute." Lewis admitted. Ooh, said Joy. Yes, but, do you love her? Asked Jenny. Everyone giggled. Lewis's red face got even redder. You should ask her out on a date, Lewis, said Eric Fry. No, I don't think that's a very good idea, said Lewis. Why not? Asked Eric Ovens. I think you two would make a really cute couple. Bring her flowers, said Dana. Buy her candy, said Mauricia. Tell her she's got eyes like the moon, said Bibi. Eyes like the moon? Asked Lewis. Girls love it when you tell them that, said Bibi. Nah, forget that gushy stuff, said Eric Bacon. Just walk right up to her and say, Hey, baby, how about a date? What, just like that? Asked Lewis. No, this is what you do, said Terence. You take her to a really scary movie, and then at the scary part, you put your arm around her. Ooh, said Dana and Jenny. No, take her dancing, said Myron, and hold her real close. Ooh, said the three Erics. Lewis laughed. You kids are crazy, he said. You're scared of her, aren't you? Asked Eric Bacon. You shouldn't be scared, said Eric Ovens. You are bigger and stronger and faster than anyone on this playground. And you've got the best moustache too, said Eric Fry. I'm not afraid of her, Lewis tried to explain. It's just... He looked up at the very tall school. Miss Nogard is way high up there, and I'm way down low here. You'll understand someday when you're older. He picked up the ball and threw it way high up. It hit somewhere between the 18th and 20th story and never came down. There was no 19th story. Chapter 28. Flowers for a very special person. Of course, Miss Nogard knew all about Lewis. The children's brains were buzzing about him. Lewis likes Miss Nogard, thought Stephen. Lewis is in love with Miss Nogard, thought Todd. Lewis wants to marry Miss Nogard, thought Cherie. But even if she couldn't listen to their brains, she would have found out anyway. Lewis, the yard teacher's madly in love with you, said Jenny. Oh, really? Said Miss Nogard. He dreams about you every night, said Calvin. He thinks your eyes are like the moon, said Bibi. Miss Nogard smiled. Do you like him? Asked Jenny. He's kind of cute, said Miss Nogard. Ooh, Bibi and Calvin said together. Oh, what about his moustache? Asked Jenny. Do you like his moustache? Miss Nogard thought a moment. It would probably tickle if he kissed me. The children gasped as their mouths fell open. They returned to their desks and told everyone around them what Miss Nogard said. Miss Nogard smiled. She wondered just how she would break Lewis's heart. Ever since Xavier broke her heart, she'd become an expert at breaking other people's. She listened to men's brains and knew just what to say to make them fall in love with her. And then she knew just the right thing to say at just the right moment to shatter their hearts into a million pieces. Even the biggest and strongest man would cry like a baby. She was incapable of love. Her heart was clogged with bitterness and hate. And besides, she knew no one would ever love someone with 3 ears. For just a second, she felt a pang of sadness, because she really did think Lewis was kind of cute, like a puppy dog. She could almost feel the tickle of his moustache. Miss Nogard thinks you're cute, Jenny told Lewis at playtime. She's hot for you, Lewis, said Mac. She wants to kiss you, Lewis, said Bibi. Come on, let's play kickball, said Lewis. They played kickball, but it was weird. Lewis, who was probably the best kickball player ever, did terribly. He tripped over the ball when he tried to kick it, and when Terence kicked a pop-up, Lewis tried to catch it, but the ball bounced off his head. What's wrong with Lewis? Asked Ron. Is he sick or something? Yep, said Jenny. He's got a real bad disease, and it's spelt Love. The next morning, Lewis came to school with a bunch of flowers in his hand. Jenny saw him. "Are those for Miss Nogard?" she asked. "Oh, I don't know," said Lewis. "I passed the field of wild flowers on the way to school. I thought I might give them to someone special." He winked at her. He headed towards the school building. Jenny followed. "Oh, flowers," said Bibi. "Are you going to give them to Miss Nogard?" asked Calvin. "Oh, I don't know," said Lewis. "I think she might have a pretty face. Vase." Calvin and Bibi followed along with Jenny. Lewis entered the building. Miss Nogard was in the office. She was getting her mail from her box. Her back was to him. Lewis froze. "Go on, Lewis," urged Jenny. But Lewis just stood there. The flowers rattled in his shaky hand, and several petals fell to the floor. Mr. Lewis came out of his office. "Good morning, Lewis," he said. "What have you got there?" These are for you," said Lewis. He thrust the flowers into Mr. Kidswater's hand. "They're lovely," said Mr. Kidswater. Miss Nogard turned around. "Those are very pretty, Mr. Kidswater," she said, and then headed up the stairs. Lewis watched her go. "No one has ever brought me flowers before," said Mr. Kidswater. "You may not believe this, Lewis, but I don't have many friends." He put his hand on Lewis's shoulder. "You're like a son to me, Lewis," he said. "Then you're a maggot-infested string bean," muttered Lewis. "What?" asked Mr. K. "I said you're a magnificent human being." Well, that's the end of story time today. Join me tomorrow for another 2 chapters.